You want to know something that I am a little concerned about? And maybe I shouldn't be, but until I see him actually play in some games or throw the ball, at least doing drills, Nico Hoerner, who talked on Friday and said that, he had that the flexor tendon surgery back in early October. And, he even talked about how he played through it last year, which was, listening to him talk, it was like, wow, I can't believe he did it. Like he said, playing second base made it manageable for him to do. He talked about how gripping the bat was an issue when it came to hitting. We talked a lot about how Hoerner's offense kind of wasn't as good as 2023 last year. And like this injury, the hand and forearm, whatever you want to call it, had a lot to do with his offense. Now the defense was still there, and that's incredible. And it's very admirable that he was able to get through the season the way he did. But he said, related to throwing, he said that he's still working towards that. The throwing program has been going for a little while now, made good progress on that, learning a ton, definitely more detail in a throwing program than anything I've done. So for me, when it comes to Hoerner, I just want to see him play a spring training game or something. And I don't know when we're going to see that.
Yeah,
and so like, I think I definitely have more concern about Hoerner right now. And I think there's at least a few more options at second base that they can go to if he doesn't start the season with the Cubs. I don't know. He's been in Arizona since before even pitchers and catchers reported. We've seen videos of him playing catch. We've seen him fielding ground balls. But whenever he's fielding ground balls, he's not doing a lot of throwing while doing them. So I guess I'm just very confused about a lot of that in general.
I think he's someone, too, who you'd rather see a short absence to begin the year than let him play at anything less than 100%, because it's another thing where recovering from a surgery or recovering from a soft tissue issue like Matt Shaw, tissue issue, that was fun. But with those, it's when you're not 100%, it really leaks into your performance depending on what your game is. And 2 years ago, Nico Hoerner was driving the ball a lot better. Last year, that dipped. And then you get the explanation towards the end of the year that he's dealing with this flexor tendon strain or issue and requires the surgery. And it kind of all clicks. It makes sense. And he's just someone who, if he's 100%, you're off and running in the right direction. But that's probably not going to be by opening day. It's probably not going to be until at least a few weeks into the season either.
Right. Now, you on a spin zone, he did say that despite the grip stuff, the grip issues he had last year, he feels uncompromised with that now.
That's great.
So if he's hitting, he said that he's back swinging in the cage and stuff now. That gives me some hope and optimism, like for him to openly say that. So I think what worries me about guys going into the spring with like recovering from an injury and stuff like that, we've talked about it with guys who are quote unquote injury prone in the past. Like I'll just use Nick Madrigal as an example. And this isn't because they're similar type players in the fact of, bat to ball skills and stuff like that. But it took me a while to give up on Nick Madrigal because it always felt like he was doing some sort of rehab. You know what I mean? Like he was just never healthy going into a season. Now, eventually we got to a point where I gave up on Nick Madrigal. And obviously Nico Hoerner is a significantly better player than Nick Madrigal. But the point is when you go into spring and you're still recovering from an injury, you spend an entire offseason rehabbing or recovering from something. You're not really able to go into an offseason and work on things you want to improve on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's my concern with Nico. I still think Nico will be a very productive player for the Cubs this year if he's healthy and on the field. But I'm holding out concern right now because I just don't know where he's at. And it feels like it's nice to hear him talk about it, but right now I would say that I don't think he's going to play in Japan.
No.
That's where I don't feel like he's going to play in Japan.
And right now you've got to be thrilled because who would this role be perfect for who isn't around right now? Miles Mastrobuoni, right?
Bring him back.
Yeah, we'll see. And we'll see kind of what the plan is for Japan or going into April too when they start playing games here. Mm-hmm. And if Hoerner's not ready, what is your plan?
Right.
because you don't currently have the depth that you'd like to be able to sustain kind of that going forward. Especially now too, there has to be at least some thought given to the fact that Shaw is dealing with an oblique, and those, while, yep, it's minor, he should be playing pretty soon. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's playing on Thursday when they have their first spring game.
Yeah.
But you just kind of got to take it slow. You got to be concerned about it, and you got to be concerned about that depth. What does that lead to?
So some people have mentioned in the chat, like Justin Turner is very much still a possibility for the Cubs as a free agent. Now, he doesn't play second base, but as a bench option, right? Patrick Mooney said on Northside Territory today as much about Justin Turner and Jose Iglesias. Jose Iglesias, he plays at middle infield, right?
Yep.
So on top of the fact you still have Brujan, you got back for Matt Mervis, which, again, I don't know his role at all, like what's going on with him.
We'll see.
You got Gage Workman in the Rule 5, right? You have James Triantos, the top 100 prospect in your system. I don't know how the Cubs view him. I would highly doubt that he's going to be on the opening day roster, but you still have him. They've been playing him at second base. He's not nearly as good defensively as Nico Hoerner, but from my understanding, from reading, people view James Triantos a lot like Nico Hoerner as a offensive profile, at least. This is kind of what makes it frustrating about the whole Bregman-Shaw thing. Like, if Hoerner is hurt and not ready to start the season, you could have easily moved Shaw to second base and played Bregman at third, right? That everything is past. We are where we're at. But I just am very intrigued to find out where guys are playing throughout the spring, and the names I just mentioned, like, why not just get Jose Iglesias in here, man?